two sisters who believe that the purpose of life is to enjoy, create, and have fun. We believe that as humans, we can have anything we want, and things are always working out for us. Experience has taught us that the path to getting everything we want begins with ease. If you believe in miracles and happily ever after, or even if you just want to, then this is the podcast for you. Hi there, I'm your host, Kayla Rain.
I'm your co-host, Adria Shea.
And welcome back to Attract It with Ease.
Hi.
Adria, hi. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really good.
Good. You look really good as usual. Tell me what you're grateful for today and why.
Well, I am grateful for curly hair products. And I can't remember if I've said this one before, but about a year and a half ago, I decided to try to really coax the natural curl out of my hair. And I will say that the products that you use make a huge difference between whether my hair is curly or not curly. So I'm really glad that such products exist and that thanks to the internet, I discovered them, and it makes my task a little bit easier.
So the way you just worded that when you said coax the curl out of your hair, I'm just going to clarify for the listeners. You mean you want it curly. You want to make it curly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I want to coax it into curling more.
Okay. And I knew that's what you meant, but it sounded like you were trying to talk it into going straight. And there's days I want that too.
Yes. Well, I could switch products back if I wanted to encourage it that way, I guess. So maybe I love the flexibility of being able to.
Right? You've got natural curl. That's awesome.
Second one, I really love my work laptop. I was away from home all day the other day. I'm working from home. And yesterday I had to be out and about all day long. And for the first time, I took the laptop that my work has given me. It's not usually what I use to do my work on. And it was just really nice to have that convenience to be able to work and be at the appointments I needed to be at simultaneously. You know, I could work from the doctor's office and various other places. So
technology has really come a long way. Remember the computer we had growing up, like a Commodore 64 or something? Can you imagine doing your work on that?
Oh my gosh, no.
That's a good one.
And I am grateful for our dad. I have been spending a lot more time lately. I mean, I'm grateful for him for a million reasons, but I've been spending more time lately just getting to know him a little bit and letting him know me a little bit better. And I'm very, very grateful that he's alive and close by and that I had the opportunity to do that and that he's such a good-hearted, loving person.
Oh, I love that. That makes me a little bit jealous, only because he's getting older and I know one day I'll wish I had to spend more time with him, but that's awesome. Well, I have a few things that I'm grateful for today, and they're all pretty much connected. And you know about all of these things, Adria, but our listeners don't. So I do want to share it with our listeners.
Yes.
Over the last several weeks as we've recorded, I've alluded to a few things, and I even said on a podcast a while back, you had said something about how you were trying to be careful about how much personal stuff you shared. And I said, yeah, me too. I'm trying to make sure that I don't say something that somebody is going to hear. Well, listeners, I finally am in transition. And so I can talk about it a little bit here, but I have been looking for a new job for a while now. And the job that I have is decent, but there are things about my job that I don't love. And probably the biggest reason that I'm leaving is that I haven't felt valued. And it's hard for me to stay in a place where I feel like I'm not appreciated. So that was the biggest determining factor of me looking. And so I've been looking for a while. I haven't wanted to settle. As you know, we talk about jobs as a scenario in a lot of our situations. We talk about, when you're trying to manifest a new job, a new relationship, losing weight. We probably talk about all these things because these are the things that Adria and I underlying are really working on. That's our secrets. But yes. So yes, it's out there. I've been working on trying to manifest a job, and I just accepted a job. I'm so excited. And so that's number one. I am so, so excited about this new job that I have accepted. It is everything that I want. Like literally, we've talked about not settling and that you don't have to settle in life. We have a tendency to say, "Oh, well, I don't have to have everything. It checks 4 of the 5 boxes, so that's pretty good." This job feels like it checks all of the boxes, and that's incredible. And I'm so grateful for that. So that's number 1. Number 2 is I was really nervous to give notice at my work. I did not know how it would go over. They didn't know I was looking for a job. And so the day that I had to give notice, I set my intention before I went to work that I would just be aligned with my inner being. The words would come out of me the way that I wanted them to, that it would be the perfect words at the perfect time in the perfect place with the perfect person. That's what I wanted. And I was nervous, and my boss took it really well. I mean, she's disappointed and she wishes I would stay. But when she found out the reason that I was leaving, she was actually sad and said, "I really wish I would have known that you felt that way. I wish I would have known that you didn't think you were valued." And it's interesting because now I'm working through my last 2 weeks, and she's going out of her way to try and make me feel valued, not to keep me there because she knows I'm not staying, but she's really going that extra mile. And it's nice that it's not awkward. It's not uncomfortable for the last 2 weeks. I'm able to train and help and support. And I think we both really appreciate each other. And so that's the second thing I'm grateful for, is that went well. And
Oh,
then
that's
the third, thank you. The third thing just happened today. And listeners, you don't know this, but this time last year, I was training to be a train conductor. I was going to be a conductor of a train. Like, who does that? That's crazy. It was something that I had been working towards, and I was in training, and then COVID happened and I lost my job. And that was mostly because they had to shut down the training centers, and then they ended up cutting back the amount of trains that were out there. Long story short, today I got a call offering me my old job back. They're now going back to training. They're going back. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to take that. I've already accepted another position that, like I said, checks all the boxes. It seems perfect. But it just feels incredible to know that I have options. And what I've been thinking is, when you don't attach yourself to the how, and we've talked about that, when you just put out, "This is what I want," to the universe can really bring you so many different answers, so many different options. And I'm just so grateful that I have options. It's like a buffet to choose from instead of feeling desperate. And I feel like in the past, over the years, when I've looked for jobs, I've typically been in a desperate mode, and you're just begging someone to hire you and you're hoping you get an interview. And it's that lack or scarcity feeling we keep talking about. And this time I'm relaxed. It's been easy. The process has been awesome. And the universe is just saying, "Here, choose. What do you want? What do you want to do?" And it feels incredible. So I am grateful for that today. So, Adria, this week's episode is in a whole different vein of anything we've talked about, I think, up to this point. What I want to talk about today is our daily routines. And initially I thought, let's just talk about our morning routine. But then I thought, why? We don't need a whole separate episode for our evening routine. Why don't we just talk about them both? So I do think that we can set ourselves up for success by the way that we start our day and the way that we end our day. So I want to talk about that today. But before I jump into what I have planned, let me ask you, what kind of routines do you feel you have? And it's okay if you don't have any, but I know you probably have some. Like, you probably wash your face every night and you probably brush your teeth. What are things that you do that are routine?
You're right. I'm glad to say I do have a little bit of a routine. I do wash my face every morning and night. That's a new thing in the last few years. I brush my teeth every night. When I get out of bed, I get up, I take a pill, I get some tea started. I have a whole list of things that are on my should list, a whole list of things I feel like I should be doing every morning and night that are written down. But what I do regularly, I do some stretches. Sometimes I do some reading. I definitely need this episode.
No, this is a recommendation. It's not a need. We don't need anything. It's just I recommend having a routine. And what I want to talk about today is how when you use intention with how you begin your day, it affects everything that goes on during your day. And then you can also use intention in going to sleep. And I will explain all of that here. But there are a couple of different resources I'm going to talk about on this episode. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is what's called Daily Magic. And it's actually a program from Tony Robbins. I think I may have mentioned Tony Robbins once or twice on the podcast, but I am obsessed with Tony Robbins. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Most of you know exactly who I'm talking about, but he is one of the world's most famous personal coaches, and he trains people on how to maximize every aspect of their life. And I'm just obsessed with almost everything that he teaches. And he doesn't refer to the law of attraction as the law of attraction, but he implements teachings of the law of attraction in a lot of what he coaches on. And so I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan, but he has a system that he calls the Daily Magic. And the only place that I found this, he may have it in other places, but he has it in his Get the Edge series, and it's a bonus disc. So this tells you how old this series is. It's from I don't know, it's probably 20 years old, but it's a disc, a CD. But it's the bonus disc is the Daily Magic. And years ago, when I was overseeing sales in one of my job, I literally made my sales staff do this every morning. This is how we would mentally prepare for our day, because it is intended to kind of set yourself up for the day. So I'm going to talk about his system and what that is. And if you're interested, I would recommend that you find the series, Get the Edge, and find that disc and email me. If you can't find it, I'll help you out. Anyway, he has a few steps to this morning routine, and I think it's incredible. Number one, he talks about get moving. When you wake up, get moving, get your body moving, because we all know what that is like, to be sluggish in the morning, to just roll out of bed and you're tired. And some people, maybe you're hungover, but if you took a sleeping pill the night before, NyQuil or whatever, you're groggy. And, if you're anything like me, you're just kind of ornery until you have your coffee. And that's just how most of us go about our day. Tony Robbins is like, no, get moving the minute that you wake up. And he recommends the minute you wake up, when your alarm goes off, get in the habit of sitting up, putting your feet on the floor. If you put your feet on the floor, you get moving. So he talks about that, but in the Daily Magic, has you literally walking. So this is what I used to do with my sales team is we would walk in a big conference room in circles around the room, and you're just walking with intensity. So you're walking at a fast pace. And then he gets you breathing. And this is really interesting. And I will tell you, I don't do this series anymore, but I think it's very powerful. But he talks about breathing with intensity, and he has you do an intentional breathing. So you breathe in 3 times, you breathe out 3 times. And so it's like, and you can kind of tell how fast that is. So you walk in rhythm with your breathing, but it just gets your whole body engaged and moving, and it wakes you up. So once you're moving and you're breathing, then you move to gratitude, and he talks you through it, and he has you in your mind while you're trying to breathe that way. You're thinking about what you're grateful for, and you're still moving, you're still walking. You could do this in the neighborhood. You could just walk around the block, with intensity. If you have a big house, which I don't, you could walk around your house. You don't even have to go outside, but he has you thinking about gratitude, and he'll walk through how grateful I am for my family, how grateful I am for my relationships, how grateful I am for my house. And I think I talked about this on the gratitude episode, where he talks about starting with yourself, what you're grateful for with your own body, and then circling out from you so that you don't run out of things to be grateful for. You just keep thinking like outward from yourself. Like think about yourself and then think about your spouse and then think about your kids and then think about your family, like your siblings and your parents and your grandparents and your friends and your neighbors and you're just going on and on. And it doesn't all have to be people, but he talks about focusing on gratitude. And then he talks about visualization. And in his visualization, he has you visualize your day. So the day that's coming up. What do you have on the agenda? What's on your schedule? What do you have going on? Visualize those things and visualize the outcomes that you want. So if you had a job interview coming up that day, you're walking, you're moving, you're breathing, you're thinking about the outcome that you want to have. If you have a sales appointment, you're thinking about the outcome that you want to have. If you're thinking about going to lunch with somebody and you don't know how the conversation is going to go, you're thinking about the outcome you want to have. So that's the visualization that he has you work on. And then from there, he moves into incantations. So incantations are his version of an affirmation. It's the same kind of thing, but an incantation is something that you say in rhythm. So just like you're breathing in a rhythm or in a pattern, you're doing an incantation in a rhythm or a pattern. So he gives us some examples, but if you remember, the breathing was like, so it's like to that same rhythm. One of them is all I need is within me now. All I need is within me now. And he gets you to say it out loud. And he talks about how saying it out loud as your body's moving, you're getting your whole body engaged in this behavior to where it's not just a mental thing. You're like actually fully engaged, fully turned on, and you're setting up your day this way. And then from there, you can move into exercise if you're someone that wants to do exercise in the morning. And so he has a 15-minute version of this. He has a 30-minute version of this, a 45-minute version, and a 60-minute version, depending on how long you want to spend. So that's what I used to do with my sales team. I think it's an incredible, powerful way to start your day because you're starting with intensity. You're starting with intention by setting those visualizations. You're adding gratitude in there. You get your body breathing and moving, and you're saying positive things to yourself. And there's nothing that I can say that's negative about this. And I think it is incredible for a morning routine. So that's the first thing I want to share with our listeners. So all of that being said, that is not what I do in the mornings. But there are versions of what I've learned through that Daily Magic series from Tony Robbins that I actually do implement. So I want to talk to you about my daily routine in the morning. You'll see how it compares to some of those things from the Daily Magic. And I'll talk to you about how that relates to setting up your day. So here's what I actually do. This is going to sound crazy, but I set my alarm for 30 minutes before I really have to get out of bed. And it's not so I can hit the snooze. Even though I'm totally that kind of person, I love sleeping in. I totally would snooze. I am now in the habit of waking up 30 minutes before I actually have to get out of bed. So I set my alarm 30 minutes early. And I will tell you, listeners, if you decide to do this, set a backup alarm until you're in a habit because you're likely to fall back asleep, especially if you know you don't have to get up. So I set my alarm 30 minutes before I have to get up. And then what I do is I obviously turn the alarm off and I lay in bed for 30 minutes. And in those 30 minutes, I start out with gratitude. So before I go here, I want to tell you guys something. We've never talked about this on the podcast before. And we talk about how the universe is always turned on. It never turns off. Whatever you're putting out is always being returned to you, even if you're not trying. The only time in our lives that we are not attracting something is when we're sleeping. That is when the universe is still on, it's working, it's attracting for whoever's awake. But when we're asleep, we are not vibrating in a way that we're attracting anything. So you don't have to worry about like your dreams or what's happening in your sleep. But it's important to understand this because if you know that your attraction point is completely shut off while you're sleeping, what that means is the second that you wake up, it comes back on. It's like a daily reset. Like literally, you get a fresh start every single day. It's almost like you were a new child being born again, and you're just starting from very scratch. So every day when you wake up, you have the opportunity to start over on your attraction point, no matter what happened yesterday, no matter what you were thinking about. And so that's why I feel your morning routine is so important. And that is why I start with gratitude. I want the minute that I turn my alarm off and my mind starts going, I don't want it thinking about what I have to do today. I don't want it thinking about whatever I was thinking about last night when I fell asleep. I don't want it like stressed or worried about something that might be going on or a text that came through on my phone or no, I want to like consciously focus on gratitude. So I turn off my alarm. I don't look at my phone. I don't do anything on social media or check messages or whatever, even if I've got notifications. I set my phone down. I work on gratitude. And when I say I work on gratitude, I do this with my eyes open. And I've learned to do it with my eyes open because I will fall back asleep. I will, without a doubt, I will fall back asleep if I don't have my eyes open. So here's what I do. I'm laying in bed. I have my eyes open and I think about, oh, I love my bed. My bed is so comfortable. I love how warm I am right now and how soft my pillow is. And I literally like look around my house, which I can see literally my whole house from my bed because I live in 160 square feet. But I look around and I think about the things I can see. And sometimes I can, Dan, my fiance, usually gets up a little before me. So he's already up. He'll often have the curtains open. So from the bed, sometimes I can see outside. I can see the weather. I might think about, oh, it looks so pretty out there today. Or maybe it's freezing outside and I'm thinking, oh, it looks so chilly outside. I'm so glad I get to stay in bed for a little bit longer. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite parts of the day because I sit there and I think about how lucky I am that I don't have to get up yet. And it's like, I literally feel so lucky. And then Dan's usually making coffee and I can smell the coffee and I think, oh, I love the smell of coffee. And that's my gratitude. Like I literally just try and like soak up that moment and just start my vibration at I appreciate this. And I don't do it for like, I don't set an alarm for, oh, focus on gratitude for 10 minutes or whatever. I don't do that. I just think about what I'm grateful for. And almost every day, it's a lot of the same things. I always am grateful for, oh my gosh, I woke up. I have another day. This is exciting. Like, I'm so glad I'm still here. Like, I have another day. And I do. I always think about my comfy bed and I think about how warm I am. So that's how I start. So once I get kind of to where I feel good about my gratitude, I want to move my thoughts somewhere else. The next thing that I do is I focus on visualization. And here's the thing about it. You can't do it too fast or you'll fall asleep. Because like I said, when you're focused on gratitude, you want to do it with your eyes open or you'll fall asleep. So you have to be awake enough to move into visualization. And I pick different things to visualize. I'm working on a few things right now. I'm working on a perfect body. And so I right now really like to visualize my perfect body. It's banging. It's awesome. And I think about the warmer weather coming and being in a swimsuit and how comfortable I feel and how happy I am. I've got my wedding coming up and I think about that day and how good I look in my wedding dress and how incredible I look in the photos. And I'm visualizing these things that I want. So right now, I often think about my body, but sometimes I think about my house. Sometimes I've thought about this job I'm manifesting. It could be a new car. It could be anything. But I spend probably about 15 minutes visualizing. And so it could be anything. But for me, it's kind of like just whatever I want to think about, whatever sounds fun, whatever I want to focus on. And I'll tell you, when you visualize, if you're not falling asleep, it is so much fun, so much fun. And we have an episode all on visualization. So if you feel like you don't know how to do that, or you're not good at it, go back and listen to that episode because it's really not very hard. So then I do an intention for the day. So when I'm done visualizing, and again, I don't like set an alarm. It's not a set amount of time. I just visualize for a bit. And then I start thinking about my day. And I think, okay, what do I have going on today? What's on my schedule? What do I need to do? And that's where I set my intention. And usually my intention is pretty simple. Like my intention today is to be happy. No matter what happens, I'm going to be happy. That could be my intention today. But if I've got a lot on my plate, I may think, my intention today is to just feel easy, to not be stressed, to just be easy. There's so many different things you could set for your intention, but I do set an intention for the day. And I really try and focus on that so that I don't want to just say something in my mind and then forget it later. I want to kind of have that be my theme for the whole day so that when I start feeling stressed, I can go, oh, wait, no, that's right. I said I was going to be easy today. I am feeling easy. This is an easy day. This isn't so bad. So I do set my intention. And then I finally get up. And when I get up, it doesn't end there. I purposely work on my thinking while I'm getting ready because I am working on a perfect body. And because I'm working on it, it's easy for me to look in the mirror and start going, these clothes are really tight. Or, as I'm putting my makeup on, look at these wrinkles. I'm looking old. Or to be like, I really should have washed my hair last night. It's super greasy today. Or whatever. Like it's so easy to go into that mode coming off this like amazing start. It's so easy once you start getting ready to start that negative self-talk. And it's like you just undo everything you already did. So I make it my intention to have positive self-talk to myself while I get ready. So as I'm looking in the mirror and checking my outfit, making sure it's not super wrinkled or that it's, the shoes match or whatever, I look in the mirror and I think positive things to myself. Since I'm working on the perfect body, I tell myself, I'm looking so good. Look how cute you are. And then that makes me laugh because it's silly that I'm saying those kinds of things to myself. But I do. I have positive self-talk. Thank you. And then the last piece that I was going to say is I try and listen to something uplifting while I'm getting ready and or on my drive to work. So when I talk about listening to Esther Hicks meditations or listening to books on Audible or whatever, that's when I listen to it. Dan leaves for work before I do, so it's really easy for me to just pop in my earbuds and just listen. And even though it's probably only somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes every morning that I'll listen to something, I'm just setting myself up for how my day is going to go. I'm putting the positive in, I'm feeding my mind with positivity. I'm listening to positive things. It could be a positive podcast. It could be, sometimes I listen to our own podcast. Typically the day at release, I'll listen to it to make sure like, is it really what I thought it was? Do I remember it right? But no, I do. I listen to audiobooks, I listen to meditations, and I usually don't turn them off until I get to work and I'm sitting in the parking lot. I'll turn it off, pull my earbuds out, think about my intention again as I go in, and I start my day. And that's my morning routine. So, Adria, listening to all of that stuff, first of all, tell me your thoughts.
Oh, I love it. It reminds me of so many goals that I've set and not been working on. And I'm just thinking if I plugged those into my morning or my evening routine, then I'd be making progress and feeling pretty good about things.
It's not to say that I'm perfect in my routine, meaning like it's possible while I'm visualizing, somebody calls me and it like pulls me out of what I'm doing and now I'm distracted. But for me, that 30-minute time frame is just enough to get my head straight before I jump out of bed. I'm not checking my emails. I'm not checking social media. I'm not thinking about, like WhatsApps. We use WhatsApp at work. And so a lot of times I'll get like work assignments sent in the middle of the night and I'll wake up to them. And instead of looking at that and addressing it or having that affect my feeling or emotion about the day, I'm like, no, I'm going to take control of what I'm attracting. I have a brand new, fresh start. I'm going to start out with gratitude. I'm going to set my intention. I'm going to visualize. I'm going to do all of these things. And then I make sure that when I step out of bed, it doesn't all just get flushed down the toilet. Like I continue it forward with the positive self-talk and the positive listening that I do through, audiobooks or whatever. I think there are a lot of these pieces that are similar to Tony Robbins' Daily Magic. It's not nearly as active. It's not as high energy. It's not as high intensity. I definitely feel that what Tony Robbins suggests is super powerful. And I know it because I used to do it. But for me, this is a lot easier. It's a lot laid back. It's relaxing. And that's kind of more my pace. And I mean, my podcast is attracted with ease. I want ease. I want things to just be easy, right? But I feel like the gratitude is in both of those places. The positive self-talk is in both of those places. The visualization is in both of those places. And I feel like all of those pieces, even like you said, if you just implemented one or two of those things and did it every day, it would have a huge impact towards what you're trying to achieve. Okay, so that's my morning routine. Now I want to talk about evening routine, and it's not nearly as detailed because at the end of the day, we're spent. But I do think there's a few things that we can do to set ourselves up for kind of ending the day and putting a positive spin on the day, no matter what happened, but also helping ourselves have a good night's sleep. So I want to talk about that briefly. So when I go to sleep, and I've said this before on the podcast, that the first thing I do every morning is focus on gratitude. The last thing I do at night is focus on gratitude. And I try and do that. I will admit there is on occasion sometimes where I'm like literally falling asleep going into bed. So I cannot say that I focus on gratitude if I'm like half asleep when I go to sleep. But if I'm awake and just shutting off the light and it's a normal evening, as I close my eyes, I do try and think about gratitude. And I try and think about oftentimes what happened during the day, just kind of recapping my day and trying to be grateful for what happened during the day. So this actually leads me into another resource that I want to mention. So I've talked about how I have a line a day journal that I love. That is part of my evening routine now. I actually do that way before I'm going to sleep. I climb in bed to watch TV or something. And while I'm watching TV, I write in that journal. But excuse me, I also have, and I use it off and on, I'm not consistent with this, but I do have an app called the 5-Minute Journal. And Adria, I think you're familiar with this, but our listeners might not be. And the 5-Minute Journal actually has also a physical journal that you can buy, but I love the app. So the app, I think it's $5 for the download. You just pay for it one time. But once you have the app, you can do a morning entry and an evening entry, or just morning or just evening, however you want to do it. But in the app, it gives you a prompt every morning that you open it to write down 3 things you're grateful for in the morning. And then every evening that you open it, it prompts you to write 3 amazing things that happened today. So I will be honest that I'm not super consistent with it. I have been in the past, but I think it's an awesome app. And I love that you can go back and look at old entries just like you would a real journal. It allows you to upload a picture. It lets you have a quote for the day. Like it's got a couple other features that I think are really cool. But I love that it starts your morning with a few things you're grateful for and starts the evening with here's 3 things that are good that happened today. So I don't always use the app, but I will say that when I'm thinking about my gratitude falling asleep, I do try and think about 3 good things that happened that day. Because when you think of it in terms of 3, oftentimes we can think of 1 or 2. Some days it's hard to think of anything if you had a rough day. But when you force yourself to come up with 3 things, even if it's literally like I am grateful that I get to sleep in my own bed tonight, or I am grateful that, I'm headed to bed right now. Like I get to end the day, like the day's done. That could be your gratitude, but at least you're focusing on the positive. And so I do try and lay in bed and focus on my gratitude. But this is a piece I actually did get from Esther Hicks. And she recommends that as you're going to sleep, because you're going to shut off your vibration for that time, you're not attracting anything. She says, set an intention to sleep well. She says to put it out there, like, okay, I'm shutting it off, like kind of telling your body, telling the universe, okay, I'm shutting off my attraction point, and I intend to have a very good, peaceful, relaxing, deep sleep, and I will wake up refreshed. Like, however you want to say it, whatever it is that you want. But think about how many nights we don't sleep well. Think about how many nights, like, you wake up the next day, and if somebody asked you, how did you sleep? If you were being completely honest, you'd be like, I didn't really. I woke up like 5 times, or I woke up at 3 a.m. and I couldn't go back to sleep. Like that happens to us. I will tell you, I'm not perfect about setting my intention, but I will say this is kind of new for me. I've started setting my intention to sleep well. And I will tell you, the very first 2 times I did it, I woke up and I felt like I had taken NyQuil. Like
Wow.
I woke up from like the world's craziest deep sleep that like it took me a couple of minutes to like actually wake myself up. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like I can't remember the last time I slept. Like, yeah, it totally
That's
does.
awesome.
But you think about it, you are not your body. You are your inner being that is controlling your body. And so you control your body. And if you tell your body, no, I'm going to sleep well tonight. This is my intention. I'm going to sleep well. I'm going to wake up refreshed. I'm going to have a deep sleep. Like, put it out there, try it. For me, the times I've done it, I have slept really well. I will admit, I almost always sleep well. I don't usually struggle with my sleep. But I will say the first 2 times, it was a noticeable difference for me when I set my intention. So those are 2 pieces. So Adria, tell me, do you, aside from like brushing your teeth and the usual, do you have an evening routine at all?
I do. I'm a little bit better about I shouldn't maybe put a judgment on either one because I'm pretty consistent with my morning routine, but I'm not doing all the things you're doing that I have felt like I should be doing. I do a better job of the things that I feel I should be doing at night. I do, I get ready for bed, wash my face, and put all these things on my face, which is a process, and brush my teeth and floss consistently.
That's impressive. I don't floss consistently.
Yeah, well, you should.
If I believe that, then you're right.
Lately, I have been reading before bed, which helps me to wind down a little bit. I almost always write in my 5-year journal as well. And I listen to a hypnosis thing almost every night before I go to sleep as well.
I like that.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's easier for you to have an evening routine than a morning routine?
When I think I get distracted in the morning. I get up and I usually check my phone early on, and then I'm doing things on my phone, and it's harder for me to then bring my mind back to the things that are on my list, like visualization and stuff like that. I'm just kind of like, once I've checked my phone, then at that point I start thinking about work and various other things.
I think that's probably what most of us do. And I think that is the drawback to smartphones, is that they take so much of our attention. And I think the not so great piece about that is that we allow everything outside of us to control how we start our day with our emotions and our thoughts. I don't know how you are, and I'm actually pretty good about the kind of people that I follow on social media. I try and get rid of people that I feel are negative and post controversial things and stuff, because it just affects my vibration. And so I tend to unfollow that. But so many times it could be a news story, it could be just someone's post about politics, or I don't know. I mean, there's so many things going on in the world right now. I feel like every day somebody's posting about a new issue. It could be, right now, I don't know, Asian women and their rights. And
Yeah, there's a lot
there's
of disheartening things.
there's so many things, and the Black Lives Matter, and there's just so many things. And it's not that I don't care about those things. I do, but everything's so controversial and everyone has such a strong opinion about things that oftentimes when we jump on our phone, like you said, you might get a work thing. And so now you're focused about work and however you feel about that work thing, if it's extra work or something that's urgent or something that needs to be done now, that's going to add to your vibration. And it's probably not going to positively impact your vibration for the day. But if it's something off social media or a news story or something, that's probably not positively impacting your day because you're either feeling bad about the situation or you're frustrated about someone's opinion or, we've talked about contrast and we really should appreciate it, but more often than not, it actually like bothers us. And so that's how we are, starting our day is just by letting these other things affect our vibration instead of us consciously deciding, no, you know what? This is a brand new, fresh start. I'm starting right from square one, and I'm going to put myself on the path that I want to be on. And I won't say that I have always had this kind of a routine, that I've developed this, and I would say I've become more and more consistent in the last year or 2 years. But I do have a pretty consistent morning routine and I love it. And like I said, that first 30 minutes of my day is some of my favorite 30 minutes of every day, because I really do relish in how nice it is that like I don't have to get up if I don't want to. I know I don't have to get up. I can lay here in my soft, warm, comfy bed and think about all the things I love and how great the day's going to go for me. And oh, that coffee smells amazing. And it's just this, it's silly, but it's just this feel good cozy moment that I have all by myself every day. And so for me, it's been really beneficial to put myself, like, start the day off on the right foot. So that kind of leads us into our action item. But before I share that with our listeners, Adriel, I'm just going to ask you from this conversation, what are you going to implement from what we talked about?
I like your idea of doing gratitude morning and night. That's not something, I don't even get to my gratitude every single night. I usually do it when I'm writing in my journal. But I love the idea of kind of bookending your day with gratitude. So I'm going to implement that. And also the visualization piece and the setting your intention.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot to commit to. I'm impressed, actually, but that's a lot to take on.
It's just 3 things I can manage.
Okay, but wait till I give you the action item.
Okay.
No. So the action item for listeners, here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. And you're not going to love this, but I promise you will down the road. I'm going to encourage listeners to start setting their alarm 30 minutes early. And here's what I want you really to do. Today, right now, listeners, I'm meaning like right now, like now.
We'll wait while you do this.
Yeah. Grab your phone. You probably already have your like set alarm for tomorrow or whatever. And you know what? If you only want to do this on the days that you work, like if you work Monday through Friday, then that's fine if you only want to do it for Monday through Friday. I don't really care, but set a reoccurring alarm. So if you have an alarm Monday through Friday, set a recurring alarm Monday through Friday right now for 30 minutes before you normally get up. I'm telling you to do it right now because if you don't do it, you're not going to do it. And if you just set it for one day, you'll do it for one day. So I'm saying, like, put it in your phone, like set a recurring alarm that every Monday through Friday, if those are the days you work, if it's different days, set it for those days. Set that alarm for 30 minutes more earlier than you normally get up. And there will probably be mornings that you wake up and you hear it and you're like, I don't have to get up.
You mentioned Kayla's name and you swear under your breath.
You might, but here's the thing. You're going to feel guilty as you go back to sleep. it might not be guilty enough to stay awake, but if you start doing that every day, because this is a recurring alarm, like every day, it's eventually you're going to feel guilty enough to be like, okay, she's right. I should at least try it. And I promise you, after you've tried it a couple of times, you're going to appreciate it. You're not going to appreciate waking up 30 minutes early unless you are a morning person, which I'm not. You're not going to appreciate that. But you are going to appreciate how great it feels to just sit there and just love that you don't have to get up yet, and love how warm your bed is, and love how much you love your house, and you love your family, and you love the beautiful view outside, or that you don't have to go outside, or I don't care what it is. You are going to love those 30 minutes when you get in the habit of doing it. So that's the action item for our listeners. Set your alarm, reoccurring for 30 minutes. Do it right now. And then we do have a listener for this, or not a listener. We have a listener. I hope we have multiple listeners. We have a winner. We have a winner for this week. And we have not had a new review in a couple of weeks, Adria. And so I hope that we have listeners that will be willing to leave us some new reviews. And it's okay. We don't expect 5-star. You can say whatever. You don't even have to tell us who you are. Even if you win and you want us to mail you your bracelet, you still don't have to tell us who you are. You can tell us your initials, or you can tell us, mail it to unknown at this address, or whatever you want. I don't care. You don't have to tell us who you are. Just leave us a review. But our winner from this week is someone who actually left us a review in the first few weeks. And Adria, it is Serenity M. Burns. Nice. Serenity is our winner. And Serenity, if you send us an email at hello@attractitwithease.com, tell us your theme word for the year and your address, we'll send you your custom bracelet. Adria, will you tell our listeners what I'm talking about?
Yes, each week we will choose a winner from the people who submit reviews of our podcast on various platforms. And the winner will let us know your theme word of the year. We'll make you a custom bracelet featuring that theme word. These bracelets are unisex and really, really cute.
They are. And if you don't know what we're talking about with theme words, go back, listen to episode 1. We talk about selecting a theme word for the year. Episodes 1 through 10 are our Jumpstart module. So if you're just listening and haven't gone and listened to the first 10, make sure you download those. You can get a free workbook from our website to go with those 10 episodes. Our website is attractitwithease.com. But those 10 episodes work together to help you jumpstart all of the things you're trying to manifest in life. But we would love to hear from our listeners. Reach out to us if you have questions, share your feedback. We just want to hear from you. So thank you to those that have left us reviews. And Adria, I'm really excited to hear your feedback on your morning and evening routines. Anything else you want to add tonight?
No, I can't think of anything, but thank you for the inspiration as always. I always finish this podcast excited to go out and do something better.
Yay. Well, I'm glad. Thank you for being a part of it with me. And I look forward to talking with you next week.
Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.